Our screen time rules don't work in this new world, and maybe that's okay. By Amy Joyce, Washington Post. There go our screen rules, a neighborhood dad said to me this week from a distance. Their own screens for school and then for their free time. They want to play on screens. It's screens all the time now. As parents are struggling with new routines and rules, working from home if they are lucky, and helping to oversee their children's mostly online education. The screen time guidelines many attempted to follow have fallen into pieces. We have been told not to park our kids in front of iPads, phones, and video games. Just an hour a day for younger kids, and definitely nothing before they are 18 months old. Now, with wide open days, social isolation, and the parent who still must work, what happens with those screens and the rules we have enforced for so long? Screens are the bane of my existence, the joy of my world, and a constant source of guilty, says Rachel Fisher. And a constant source of guilt, says Rachel Fisher, a mother of two and a part-time filmmaker in the district. Her fourth-grade daughter is autistic, so screen use imperative for her therapies and learning, even in normal circumstances. Screen time was limited before. Now she wakes at 8 a.m. and what do we do? She has class online, therapies online, and she wants to watch shows and play on her iPad when she's not doing schoolwork. Jenny Redsky, assistant professor of paediatrics at the University of Michigan, C.S. Mott Children's Hospital, and author of the American Academy of Pediatrics 2016 Screen Time Recommendations, says parents today need to reframe their thinking about screens and media use. She said, has an opportunity to be remarkably different and really meaningful for families. People are using screens to check on neighbors, organize help, and talk to family members and friends they so dearly miss. It's amazing watching my own first grader communicate with his whole class every morning at 9:30 over Zoom, she said. It's a really meaningful way of using technology in the current context when children feel this loss of their school community that they had just a week or two ago. The AAP screen time recommendations suggest no screens before 18 months and just 1 hour per day of quality programming for 2 to 5 years old, as well as consistent limits for older children. In light of the coronavirus crisis, Redsky tweeted out a thread of what the AAP is recommending now as we try to navigate this new world. It's okay to change the rules up a bit, she said. Think about how you are using it to meet the needs of your family right now. One guideline that hasn't changed, making sure technology use is not displacing sleep, physical activity, reading, reflective downtime, or family connection. Change your children to practice take self-control and turn off tech themselves, she tweeted. But as schools and peers find new ways to communicate during our social isolation, some parents are feeling forced to open the door to social media earlier than planned. If that's the case, she said, see if there's another option. Video chats are a good introduction to the world of social media, she said, calling it a gentle on-ramp to socialize online. It's okay if a parent is cautious about opening children up to social media, she said. Because being introduced to social media in a stressful setting like we are in now can create problems among kids who aren't used to communicating in this way. But she added, as the mother of 6 and 10 years old, I'm making this up as I go too. You're going to need to do some creative problem solving over the next weeks and months. For Dave Coulter, a stay-at-home dad with 4 children who lives outside of Boston and whose wife is working from home, screen rules have changed. The children, ages 11, 9, 7, and 5, usually are so busy with their school and sports during the week, they rarely asked for time with screens, even though it wasn't our intent. They had almost zero screen time prior to this, he said. Now we have had to ramp that up because they need it for school, and because we can't be out doing things, we have to have creative ways to entertain them. So far, he and his wife are finding screen time to be a positive, especially for their oldest, who is desperate to communicate with friends. We have said to the kids that this isn't a free-for-all and you can't disappear with it, he said. But it's nice. It's in a controlled environment. We are very well aware of what they are doing. No one expects perfection, says Nushan Aminuddin, chair of American Academy of Paediatrics Council on Communications and Media, and assistant professor of pediatrics at the Mayo Clinic. Even when families set limits and aren't able to adhere to them completely, there is still a decrease in the amount of time spent on screens. Aminuddin suggests setting limits in this exhausting time, but forgive yourself if you can't stick to your plan as much as you'd like. If children need to work on an iPad or laptop, try to find a common area where they use it so you can keep an eye on things. It's also important, she said, to keep screens out of bedrooms so they can mentally and physically split school time and relaxation time. It's challenging for parents to make sure screens are being used for education, connection, or the family relaxing together, Red Sky said. That goes for parents too. It's a challenge to make sure we are not on our own devices too much, she noted. We are, or we have got now. You need the people who you are present with in the same house. It's going to be a challenge to put down our own devices, not check the news or numbers of COVID cases, and be more physically present. Even though parents may feel scattered and panicked, it's important to find ways to be present for children during so much upheaval. If you're trying, you're already ahead. You are a rock for your kids, she said. You don't have to be a perfect one. You may need a little more time to go get your head on straight. And that may mean putting your kids in front of Mr. Rogers.